Hello, members of Aisha Bande Calculations. You're welcome. If this is your first time coming across my video, please kindly give us a follow by subscribing to this channel and also turn on the notification bell you can see up here so that you get notified anytime I post a new video on this page or anytime I'm live. So I'll be starting a series to solve the National Examination Council, which is NECO BECE 2025. BECE stands for Basic Education Certificate Examination. So if you have a child between JSS 1 to JSS 3, or a child who will be preparing for the forthcoming BECE in 2026, this video will be very useful for your child. So for every video, I'll be solving 5 questions. So the BECE Mathematics examination consists of 2 papers, paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 1 has 60 questions. They are all objective questions, while paper 2 also has 60 questions. So for every video, I'll be solving 5 questions each. So we have a total of 120 questions. So let's get started. As we have question 1 already is written on the board, it says, which of the following is a perfect square? We have 5 options, A to E. For us to be able to answer this question, first you need to know what a perfect square is, right? So let's define a perfect square in a simple language. A perfect square is a whole number obtained when that number is multiplied by itself. For example, let's say we have 2. If you multiply 2 by itself, that is 2 times 2, this gives us 4. This 4 here is a perfect square. If you multiply 3 by itself, 3 times 3, this gives us 9. 9 is a perfect square. If you multiply 4 by itself, 4 times 4 gives us 16. This means 16 is a perfect square. So from the options given, there are no two numbers that when you multiply the whole number by itself gives 18. So 18 is not the answer, option A. 22 also is not a perfect square. 25 is a perfect square. Why? If you multiply 5 by 5, right, this gives us 25. So we have option C as the answer. 27 is not a perfect square. 26 also is not a perfect square. So the correct answer for question number 1 is option C, okay? So if you have any question related to that, you can drop the question in the comment section. So now we're going to move on to question number 2. Okay, so now we have question 2 written on the board, which reads, simplify 2 plus 3 minus 2 times 5 plus 4, open bracket, 3 times 2, close bracket. So we have 5 options as usual. So now let's solve this. This is a problem under the topic called order of operation. So for order of operation, we can use what we call board mass, bid mass, or pendants, any which one, okay? We know what the B stands for, that's bracket, or we call it parentheses. O is the order, and order, we have under order, we have what we call exponents, we have power, we have roots, we have cube roots, we have square roots, all of this falls under order, okay? And D stands for division, M stands for multiplication, A stands for addition, S stands for subtraction. So we're going to follow this order to solve this problem given, okay? So let's begin. So we have 2 plus 3 minus 2 times 5 plus 4, open bracket, 3 minus 2. So following this order, if we can see the operations we have in this question, we have addition, we have subtraction, we have multiplication, then we have the bracket, right? So following the order of board mass, we will start with whatever we have in the bracket, irrespective of the operation inside the bracket. So dealing with the bracket here, we have 3 times 2. 3 times 2 gives us 6, right? So the next is order. So looking at this, we do not have any order in this given question. So moving to the next one, which is division. We do not have division here, right? Next is what? Multiplication. So now the two values we multiply 2 and 5 here gives us 10. So this now becomes 2 plus 3 minus 10 plus 4. This bracket here is multiplication, right? So now, since we've multiplied 2 and 5, that gives us a 10. We also have 4 times 6 to multiply. So now this becomes 2 plus 3 minus 10 plus 4 times 6 gives us what? 24, right? So this now becomes 2 plus 3 minus 10 plus 24. That's something I want my students to know. When you're solving under order of operation, please take notes, okay? Addition and subtraction have no preference. Do you know what that means? It means any word that comes first is the one you work with. If addition comes first in the problem, work with addition. If subtraction comes first, work with subtraction. So don't get that mixed up, okay? If you want to follow this rule, say you have to do addition first before subtraction, or in most cases, you miss out the correct answer, okay? So now, let's work with what we have. First, we have 2 plus 3, which gives us a 5. Then this reduces to 5 minus 10 plus 24. Now, what comes next is 5 minus 10, and 5 minus 10 gives us minus 5 plus 24. This is the same thing as saying 24 minus 5, right? And what is 24 minus 5? This gives us what? 19. So the correct answer is 19. And looking at the options, option A is the correct one. So did you get that at the beginning when you tried solving it? If you did, kudos to you. So let's move on to question 3, which is under rounding off number. All right, so let me write down the question. All right, so now let's answer the next question, which says round off 27,689 to 27689. It says to the nearest 10. So this is a question we have to first bring out the place value of each number. This is 27,000, right? So remember, this is the ones place, which we also call the unit, right? The 8 here stands for what? The tens. The 6 stands for what? 100. The 7 here is what? 1,000. Y2 stands for what? 10,000, right? So easy. So this is under like place value. This is place value. So, but we are asked to round to the nearest 10. So which number is in the tens place? That is 8, right? So what are the last two numbers? So this is 8, and the number that comes after 8 is 9. I remember if you have number between 0 to 4, we round down. If you're rounding down, means what? You're just adding 0 to it. But between 5 to 9, we round up, meaning you are adding plus 1 to it, right? So now this 9 affects the 8 to become what? Plus 1. Now this now becomes 2, 7, 6. 8 plus 1 gives us a 9. Then the 9 becomes a 0. It's so easy, right? So our final answer to the nearest 10 is 27,690. So this 90 here is to the nearest 10, right? So looking at the options, 27,690 is option C. That's so easy, right, students? So now let's move on to the next question, which is question 4. If you have any questions so far, please drop the question in the chat box, okay? So let's move on to question 4. I'll be cleaning the board now. So, viewers, let's look at question 4, which says express 2.160 as a fraction in its lowest term, right? So we have 2.160. As you can hear me, I did not say 2.160. I always tell my students any number that comes after the decimal point is no longer a fraction. So you call the numbers individually. Take note, all right? So 2.160, what we do is we take this as a whole number. We ignore the words, the decimal point. So this becomes a whole number 2160. That is 2160. Now you divide this by how many numbers do we have at the decimal point? This is 1, 2, 3. That means we're going to have over 1,000. Now we break this down to the lowest term. Let this 0 cancel out this 0, okay? So we are left with 216 over 100. 216 and 100 is divisible by 4. So dividing 216 by 4 gives us 54. And dividing 100 by 4 gives us what? 25. So we have this to the lowest term as 54 over 25. But the question said, the options given in this question is given in a mixed number. So we change this improper fraction to a mixed number. How many 25 do we have in 54? We have 2 25. And there's going to be a remainder of 4. So 4 over the denominator, which is 25. So we have our answer as 2 whole 4 over 25, option D. That's so easy, right? Any question, drop it in the chat box. So let's go to question 5. So we have question 5, which reads subtract 1002 from 3001, and we're required to leave our answer in 3 significant figures, right? So first, let's do the subtraction. We have 5 options, right? You're subtracting this from this, right? So that means we are doing 3001 minus 1002. Now let's subtract. The normal subtraction we know how to do from primary school. You can't subtract 2 from 1, so you keep borrowing, right? Take 1 here, this reduces to a 2. Take another 1 here, this reduces to a 9. Take 1 from this reduces to another 9, and you put the 1 here, right? So 11 minus 2 gives us what? 9. 9 minus 0 here is 9. 9 minus 0 is another 9, and 2 minus 1 is 1. Now we have our answer as 1999, but we are asked to leave our answer in how many significant figures? 3 significant figures. So significant figures means that what? You have just 3 non-zero numbers, but here we have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you have to consider very significant figure, this is going to be on the third one. So this line here will affect this with a what? With a +1. Now this now becomes a 10. So this 9 becomes a 0. So we have 0. 9 plus 1 is 10. You write a 0. You add 1 to the next one. 9 plus 1 is another 10. You have 0. Then this becomes a 2. So we have our final answer as what? 2000. So this is to what? 3 significant figures. All right. So the correct option is option D. That's so easy, right? So I'll see you in my next video as we move on to question 6.